about the Blue Caps and Dickie Harrell is in the 1950s there was literally an ocean of rockabilly bands and rockabilly drummers, and Dickie's style was so incredibly creative and inventive and demented that he stood out heads and shoulders above every single other one that there was.
For me, it was always Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps. You call them more rock and roll because they were trailblazers, and at the same time, Gene had a voice that you just couldn't touch.
What kind of music is this? Rock and roll, rockabilly? Is it country? Is it country or western? Where does this guy fit? So certainly that was the Norfolk Sound. That certainly was, and it began at a radio station right here in Norfolk.
Punk rock started with rockabilly. It was the original middle finger to white middle class America. Virginia made something that, I don't know, in its own way kind of changed the world.
We started back in the late 50s recording, like the Grand Record. And I think the first record to come out of there was Tommy Facinda's High School USA.
Tommy on the map for many years. I don't think there's a garage band anywhere that wasn't influenced by Tommy and Dickie, and they showed people that if you had the will, you could make music and be a band.
Dickie had to come up with something to play on the drums to go along with these demented new rhythms, and in his, I guess, journey to do that, you know, he came up with some of the coolest and most strangest drum beats that there were for that time.
He wasn't trying to shoot for anything. He just wanted his drums to sound like what sounded best with the music. That's the sign of a good drummer.
Well, let an evil lie, the way you say it, but I'll hide from the devil on the jump of my day. I'm gonna ride the moon back. I'm gonna ride the moon back. I'm gonna ride the moon down the line. Oh yeah. Well, me and the devil sat down and started lying. He started rolling all the time. I'm gonna ride the moon back.
It's good that the Commonwealth of Virginia finally caught up with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Paved the way to show the younger generations that you can make music and follow your heart and your passion.
If I could say anything to Dickie, I'd say, Dickie, that the drums on Catman are the coolest drums I've ever heard in my life.
And I'm glad to see that they got the recognition that they deserved for making those records.
That's it. Congratulations to Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps, and Tommy Facenda, and Dickie Be Bop Harrell.
All right, so there was a local music scene here long before you were born, most of you. And to present to Dickie Harrell and Tommy Facenda is Mr. Kelly Miltier.
Yeah, Kelly. Laissez-les, bon temps roulé, happy road. Let's let the good times roll. I'm Kelly Miltier. I play music every once in a while here in Tidewater. Some of you may know me as Old Mr. Portsmouth. This is the traditional second year in a row opportunity to offer a Lifetime Achievement Award to natives from this area. Last year being Bruce Gray for his endeavors. This year I'm deeply honored from the bottom of my heart, with a little bit of luck is left, to be presenting Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps the Lifetime Achievement Award. Last year, Catherine Bird, my distant cousin, was long-winded, and I'm going to be long-winded as well. I can't do this off the top of my head, but I'm going to tell a personal story involving Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps, my good friend Dickie Harrell, and let me read this. My personal history with the Blue Caps goes back to 1956, when I was 4 years old in Portsmouth. At the time, my sister Gwen was 16 years old and attended Churchland High School and on Saturday nights, the Blue Caps would perform at the Gates Theatre on High Street in downtown Portsmouth. One Saturday night, my sister had organized, with the help of Bill Tex Davis of WCMS Radio, to do a March of Dimes benefit in the fight against polio that was so prevalent at the time, there at the Gates. My parents decided to attend, drug me along with them, and well, that was it. At home, I'd always been able to play my sister's rock and roll 45s on a record player, but to see the world's greatest rock and roll band perform live, and I mean perform, changed my life forever. I had to learn to play. Eventually I did. Afterward, Gene would date my sister occasionally, and I remember him pulling up to in his two-tone Chevy Bel Air convertible with the Continental Kid on the back. It had lettering I could not yet read. It turns out that it said Lewis Chevrolet presents Gene Vincent and his Blue Caps. The rest of the Blue Caps story is history. Dickie can tell his part. You can watch the movies, the Hot Rod Gang, Girl Can't Help It, listen to the records, they're all big sellers, International Fan Club, the whole works. Hit singles, world tours, Hollywood movies, Hollywood and Granby Street Walk of Fame, and recognition in both the Rockabilly and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for this band. And they're all from right here. And now finally tonight, they get local recognition here with their own Lifetime Achievement Award, and I'd like to present this award to Dickie. Tommy can't make it tonight, he's not doing well. Dickie, come get your award.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Famer right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Man, what an achievement. I want to personally thank everybody, Mr. Macy, Veer Magazine, for just letting us join the party. And I come in tonight, and a couple of them asked me, they wanted some inspiration. Well, you might not want to hear it from this old man. Matter of fact, I'm glad to be here tonight. Matter of fact, at my age, I'm glad to be anywhere tonight. But I'm going to tell you something. In this business, it's a rough business. And I'm telling you, you stay in it long enough, you'll find out. But to make records, look around what's going on in your life, your friend's life, what's going on in the world, and write it down. Write your stuff down and produce it. Because you want people, when they hear these things, you want people to associate with them. Just like in the 50s. When you used to hear about the Chevrolet, I used to think, yeah, what was I doing in the back seat in them days in the Chevrolet? But, like I said, don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it. Remember that. Everybody here tonight, there's no losers. All of them are winners. Let's have a great big hand for all of them. And another thing, when you make your music, make it from here. Because that's what's selling. And I'm going to tell you a little story. Can I talk for a couple of minutes? When Bob Dylan was here at the Norfolk, the boy plays bass with him, was a good friend of mine. So we got together, we went down and saw him. Excuse me. And he come off the stage, and we were talking. And it took a lot of courage to say this to Bob Dylan. Let me tell you, because Dylan don't talk to everybody. And we were just talking, and he come off, he said, I saw that movie, The Girl Can't Help It. He said, y'all did a great job. He said, and I really liked that. I said, well, I'm going to tell you one thing. You know why you've been out there so long and on top? And he looked at me like that, and his manager was there. I said, because what you sing and what you do from here. And that goes right into the people, and when it goes into the people, you can't do any wrong. Another thing you got to remember, the DJs, the music papers, radio, television, all this helps you get to the public. And the main thing you got to remember, I'm getting ready to leave, don't worry. The main thing you got to remember, when you're going up that ladder, you meet the same people coming down. So the way you treat them, when you come down, brother, they're going to be there waiting for you. Thank you so much. Tommy Facenda couldn't make it tonight. He was a little bit under the weather. He told me to tell you thank you, and he's sorry he couldn't make it, but he was really honored to get this award, and myself also. And like I said, I hope you go out tonight to the party and have a good time. And there's one more story I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to get off. When I come in the door tonight, there was 3 people standing at the door in the front. They came up to me and they says, are you Dickie Harrell? I said, yes, I am. And they had my album that I recorded with Capitol, Drums and More Drums. And that made me feel good as a musician. And being a musician like you are, you know how it is when people come up to you and acknowledge that. So he looked at me, he says, that's your album. I said, well, it sure is. I said, do you want me to sign it? He said, hell no, I want a refund. Thank you, thank you.